Somewhere along the way, boundaries turned into excuses to cut people out instead of working things out. Hi, my name is Annie, and this is Grand AlieNation. We provide resources for alienated grandparents who are like stuck in the crosshairs of wondering what happened to them and wondering what the path is back. So today we're going to talk about therapists. Therapist is one of my favorite, like not favorite topics to talk about. I don't believe in modern therapy. I think the modern therapy industry has been, especially like the people who like are newly graduated in the last 5 years or so, they are encouraging estrangement instead of encouraging reconnection, encouraging resolving issues, encouraging open conversation, encouraging communication, all of that. Because as human beings, those are the things that we need to work through our stuff. And, human beings are put on earth to work through conflict, to try and figure stuff out. We're a figuring stuff out type of species. And if you avoid things instead of confronting them head on, then you're in for a cushy, soft, spineless kind of a life, quite frankly. So anyway, how therapists are feeling the estrangement epidemic. I'm going to play you a video in a little bit. It's by this woman. Her channel name on Instagram is Tanya the Herbalist. And she is, I believe she's a therapist, and she's talking about the modern therapy industry and how they are encouraging estrangement as opposed to fixing your problems and working things out. So I'll show that to you in a minute, but I wanted to talk about how therapy culture is fueling the family estrangement epidemic, and not a lot of people are talking about it. There are some. The conversations are starting. It's starting to get out there. And it's another reason why I decided to put my voice out there as well, because the more people that are talking about it, the sooner this thing will end. It will become not trendy. It will become unpopular to alienate your parents. That's my whole goal. So anyway, I'll show you the video in a few minutes, but the boundaries, when did boundaries become barriers? When did boundaries become a wall instead of a like a fence that you can work through, and the wall just shuts things off? So therapy was supposed to heal families and not destroy them. So I'm going to show you that video right now.
Have you ever asked why one of the biggest trends right now is family estrangement? Why every healing account, some therapists online are telling people to cut their parents off? Every message that goes viral so easily is that message. Because the more families that break apart, the easier people are to control. When you strip someone of their roots, you strip them of their strength. An isolated person becomes desperate. And desperate people believe more, obey more, depend more, and attack even the ones who love them. And the devil doesn't need to destroy families with violence anymore. He just convinces people that avoiding pain is the same thing as healing. Now we have parents dying inside from grief, parents who are alive but barely living, grieving children who are still here, children walking around angry, empty, and lost, thinking that that's freedom. But broken families build broken nations. And if you can't see that, you're not paying attention. So I'm going to ask you again, have you ever asked?
She's one of my favorites. I'm going to tag her in this so hopefully that she can see it. But therapy can be life-changing when it's used to heal, but lately it's being weaponized. And online therapists and healing influencers, oh my gosh. We talked about a boundaries coach in another video. That was a fun ride. Healing influencers promote detachment as a resolution, as a solution for any discomfort. Now, since when did detachment become a replacement for discomfort, or a protection measure against discomfort? So in other words, if you sit in your chair all day because you don't want to sweat by working out, you're going to get soft, fat, and unhealthy because you're, avoiding the thing that's going to bring you any kind of stress on your body. That is a very simple example of what you're doing if you are, being estranged from your parents. But this video this channel is for grandparents so that they can understand what is happening to them. And I talk about both sides so you can get a better perspective on the whole picture instead of just one side. So, suddenly parents and grandparents are labeled as toxic, narcissistic, unsafe, and oh, I don't want my son to be around his grandma because I don't feel comfortable. She's unsafe because she gives him cookies after dinner. Anyways, so, the estrangement thing, it's easy, right? It's trendy, but it's also tearing families apart. And when you tear families apart, it's going to be a long road to fix it again. So what's really going on? The no contact has become the new self-care. Self-care has been, on the horizon for quite a while, but this takes self-care to a new level. So what happens is, instead of self-care, like self-care should be, having a skincare regimen. It could be getting your nails done. It could be, like doing your own pedicure. That, and I have like a little pedicure machine. It warms up and it's got bubbly, and like I put my Epsom salts in there. I have lavender scented Epsom salts, and then I just like relax, and that is self-care. Avoiding conflict is not self-care. You think it's self-preservation, but it is making you weaker, baby. It's not making you stronger. Okay, so many of these therapists are not trained in family systems. They treat individuals. They don't treat generations. So in order to heal the whole human, you should heal all the parts of the human. Okay, modern therapists, it's not like a 2D, a two-dimensional picture. Human beings are complex. Our relationships are complex. Therefore, instead of just treating your patient, maybe let's take a look at the whole picture, your family dynamics, your relationship with the mother, relationship with the father, with your mother-in-law. That's what I'm saying. It's not just a two-dimensional thing. Therapists, you got to look at the whole picture in order to heal your person. But it could go against your best interest, because if your patient comes to see you for weeks on end, for years and years on end, that's called job stability. I have a family member who, not my immediate family, but my ex's family. She's been in therapy for decades. She goes to see her therapist, I don't know, once a month, twice a month, for decades. You know how much of an investment of time and money that is? And if your therapist was that good, maybe they'll give you some tools so that you can heal yourself. But that's not what's really going on. Okay, so I always thought, if you or somebody has been labeled toxic after your child started therapy, leave me a comment, share your experience below, because I really want to know, and I really want to start calling it out for what it is, because this trend is dangerous and it's destroying families. Okay, so if you could drop me a comment, I would really appreciate that. So let's move on to reclaiming the goal of healing, because really that's what the goal is. The goal is to be made whole again, right? When you go to therapy, when you go to the doctor, you want to be on a path to healing. You want to be made whole again. But these therapists are not concerned about making you whole again, because like I said, it's called job security. So real therapy should bring understanding, not estrangement. It should be bringing together, having resolutions instead of dissolutions. I just made that up. So healthy boundaries don't mean, let me read my notes. Healthy boundaries don't mean total disconnection. They mean mutual respect. This is true. When you have healthy boundaries, like, okay, mom, this is what I want. Like, I love it when you come over, but I need some time to myself this evening. So if you don't mind, we want to have some family time alone tonight. And as the grandma, I'd be like, of course. I respect your wishes. I respect your boundaries. Just open your mouth and tell me what you need, because I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you. If you want me to come over and make dinner while you and your husband go out on a date, and I can feed my grandson, I love that idea. If you don't want to do that, then let me know too. You're not going to hurt my feelings, because guess what? I'm a grown up. Okay. So that's what healthy boundaries look like. You guys like speak your mind, and you don't have to be ugly about it. You just say, I'm really not feeling it today. So can we, go shopping another time? Of course, whatever. I'm understanding. And it goes both ways. Okay. So just because of like, hey man, I'm not feeling like going to that festival today. I'm kind of tired. So, you guys go by yourself. Like, okay, mom. Thanks anyway. You know what I'm saying? Well, why you can't have a conversation like that? It's very easy, actually, when you get used to it. And you got to practice these kinds of conversations, because if it is not natural to your family dynamic, you got to make it a part of the conversation. You got to have open communication. State what it is that you want. You can't just tell me you're violating my boundaries. Tell me what your boundaries are. Don't come over at a certain time. Don't ask about my son's medical history. Like, although I'm really concerned about, my granddaughter's development. If you don't want me to know, then don't tell me. You don't have to be secret about it. If you just say, Mom, this is part of my being a mom. Can you please just trust me? Of course. Even though it'll be killing me inside. I want to know what happened. But you know what I'm saying? So healing families requires courage, not cancellation. So if you want to heal, you gotta reconnect. Okay. You gotta reconnect so you can start reconciling. Did you see what I did there? The conversation needs to move from blame to balance. So instead of pointing fingers, how about this for an idea? How about if we move forward? Okay. How about if we agree that, okay, this is a new starting point. When we move forward from here, we're going to have open communication. I'm going to tell you what it is that I want and that I don't want. I'm going to tell you what it is that offends me or what is helpful to me. I'm going to state what it is that I want moving forward. We don't have to go backwards, because here's a news flash, boys and girls. As grandparents, we don't want to go back to the way it was. We want to move forward. We want to move forward in a healthy way so that we can model a healthy family for our grandkids. What a concept. Okay, so in closing, I just wanted to ask if you guys could comment, let's heal families, if you agree. So anyways, that's all I had for today. So let's keep all of these things in mind, and just remember that, if you are going to therapy, if you are an adult child or any adult that's going to therapy and your therapist is not recommending healing with your family, go find another therapist, okay? Because you should be going to somebody for help, not for hurt. And that's all I had to share for today. My name is Annie, and this is AlieNation. I will see you guys on the next one.